Hello! Today we are here to discuss Metro Runner.
That's right.
This is actually one of Adam's pickups from Gen Con, and
Yeah.
he taught us the game and we played it here today. So before we get into discussing this game though, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell because we do board games right.
That's what I've been told.
Yeah. And also we are coming up on our 4-year anniversary.
That's right.
And
yeah.
almost
Woo-hoo.
1,000 subscribers as of right now. So if you want to be that one that magically pushes us over,
please.
Yeah, you have to get you and 39 of your other friends.
That's all we need. Come on.
We're not asking for a lot.
Yeah.
So Rob, what can you tell us about Metro Runner?
So this is a 2024 release and plays 1 to 5 people, and it says 30 to 90 minutes. So it's a big, broad range there. But I think that sounded pretty. It took us quite a bit longer.
Well, I don't know. Caleb rushed the game pretty good there. At the
it's
end.
still longer than 90 minutes, though. But it says for ages 14 and up. I think that's pretty accurate too, especially with some of the elements of the game. Adds a little bit of meat to it. Designed by Stephen Kerr, art by Ignacio Bizan-Lazcano. Published by Thunderworks Games. Now, the MSRP is $59.99. This is a deluxe version. I didn't see a price for that. But MSRP for other places is a little bit cheaper. Card House and Finish Market both have it for $47.99, but Amazon had it $2 cheaper, $45.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much the standard version except for these central tiles. Okay. So I believe Adam paid like a premium to add those on.
Got it. But there you go.
All right. So, what do you get in this game? So you get these little, really cool bust
they're actually
figures.
really neat.
Yeah,
kind of gives it that same electronic, almost like the 80s digital vibe, you know, from like, what was that one? Not Tron, but it was,
Max Headroom?
No, that too, but no, I was thinking of, I can't think of it, but there was a digital movie where they were like, it was like these angled, colored.
Well, the blue one in particular reminds me of Crystar, who was they had toys of when I was a kid, and then they made Marvel Comics and actually had them as a character. It was back in the days of ROM and all of those.
ROM was a great comic.
Yeah, well, it's based on a toy. I mean,
but
Marvel
it's
had a lot of those toy relationships. Transformers, G.I. Joe, obviously much more popular. But they had ROM and Crystar in there for a while, too.
ROM Space Knight.
And then you've got mostly cardboard other than that.
And a lot of cards.
Yeah, a lot of cards. You do have an inlaid cardboard board.
And these player pieces are really pretty.
Yeah,
nice. They're different.
Yeah. And then the really attractive piece, this is the add-on, was these metal puzzle pieces that you use when you're hacking in the game.
Those are beautiful.
Yeah, they are supposed to glow under black light, and we don't have a black light to try to test that out, but they shine.
Plus, we don't want to see
shimmer.
what else is in the room.
So, I mean, as far as components go, the cubes are a little oversized compared to like what Terraforming Mars might have. And everything's pretty nice. The cards do not have a linen finish on them, I don't believe.
And Adam sleeved his, but they're the card stock.
It looks like a slight finish.
But they're really thin though.
They are very thin. Yeah.
So you would definitely want to sleeve these bad boys up.
Yes. Now he didn't sleeve these little ones. I guess he didn't have sleeves of that size. But yeah, all in all, I'm probably going to give this one probably a 7.5, maybe an 8. I'll give it because the busts are really cool.
I think 8 is a better score because the busts are super cool, the player pieces are cool, and I mean I have to give a little bit of credit for the extra puzzle piece tiles. Those metal tiles are just beautiful.
Yeah, and they do have a nice storage.
A nice storage tray too. So yeah, I think 8's a good score.
All right, so moving on to theme. So you have a character that has really nice art on it. Every player gets a different one. It's really your special ability when you do hacking. It gives each player has their own unique way that they can hack.
Sure.
And then you've got basically a centralized computer, if you will, where you're trying to hack the system. And then you just kind of have a board that you go...
The districts.
Yeah, the districts you move around the board and do different actions. But there's nothing about it that feels necessarily techno.
Yeah, it doesn't feel super cyberpunk, but that's definitely the theme that we're going for.
But the components, the pieces make it look that way.
I agree.
The gameplay, though, is basically just pick up and deliver, collect resources, fulfill contracts.
Yeah, the puzzle in the middle is what really makes the game unique, in my opinion.
Yes, it is. So when we get to gameplay, we'll talk about that a little more. As far as the theme, the art on the board is pretty basic. It's just kind of color tones and then kind of a little bit of
like a cityscape
in the background, kind of overhead view. And then the card art is actually pretty nice on all the different cards.
Yeah, I think the card art's really good.
Yeah, so I'll probably go ahead and give this a 7.5.
I think I'm a little bit more. I like the art a lot, but again, the theme of the bus and the puzzle pieces really kind of, I think it elevates to an 8.
Okay.
So, in my opinion.
All right. Now, this is a little unique. Normally, we give a score to the rule book. I can't really give it a fair score because Adam taught it.
Yeah, Adam taught it. He did a good job.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about the rule book, though. It is a 24-page rule book, I believe. Yeah, 24 pages. It's
looks
got
like the
cover,
fonts
matches the cover of the box.
Looks like the font's of good size.
Really good size font. It's got a component list with actually pictured, the way it should be. The setup is very clear. It's got number system that references all the setup to where everything goes. You have a description of what your runner board and all the areas on it are, and your character cards. And then the rules on how to play, they take you from page 7 to page 21, I believe it was. No, it's actually 19. So after that, it's solo play. So they have
and Adam said
mode.
The solo mode was really good.
Yeah, it's actually a 4-page solo mode on here. And then, there's basically the last page, page 19, is all about how the game ends. There's several different conditions that can end the game, and then the scoring. So it's a pretty quick read because the font is large and it's white on black, lots of pictures the way you expect. So
everything's really well laid out.
Yeah, I can't really give it a score without reading it,
but it does look
looks like it's laid out nicely. Yeah. So just giving you an idea.
Kudos to the rule book. That's what we were rated at.
All right. So moving on to the gameplay. So everybody has a district where they start where their characters in, and then you start on the hacking space in that region. So from there, you're going to take an action which involves moving, and you either move 1 or 2 spaces. They have arrows marking your direction, so you're always going clockwise around.
And you can jump over somebody, so you could get an extra movement out of that.
Or if there's a whole line of people. But yeah, basically you don't count spaces that are occupied when you're moving. So whenever I move to a space, there's an action space that I'm occupying that I can take the action of that space, or there's a district action. So the district action is generally going to give you cubes of the color of the district you're in, although there's ways to get more cubes from various colors in your region. And you take all the cubes when you take the district action.
Or you can complete a contract.
If you have a contract to fulfill in that region, because each contract has a color, or there's a few wild ones like this one, but all of them have a color.
And usually the color of the contract, that's going to be the more dominant resource you have to pay, and then other resources. What's really cool is that they have potentially ongoing effects.
Yes.
And that's where Caleb killed us. He won the game, but his ongoing effects just really elevated his game.
Yeah, the other thing is when you complete the contract, there's 3 sections of the board, and they're actually indented from the back, which I thought that was nice.
That is nice.
That you slide your contract in, and it triggers a one-time ability that you get, which will either let you move up one of these 2 tracks down here.
For scoring.
Well, the ones for scoring also gives you resources and more resources.
They're both dual purpose. So they both score, but one allows you to manipulate and be able to get better stuff from hacking, and the other one allows you to get you better cubes. Or more cubes.
So, you can choose one of those 2 tracks to put it on, and it will give you that. Or you can get money or additional cubes.
And the interesting part of that is you can only do 3 contracts per column, and there's 3 columns.
Yeah.
And that's one of the in-game conditions.
Yeah,
if somehow
if you fill
you're able
all
to do
them.
all 9 cards, that's an in-game.
Yeah, Caleb almost did.
Almost did, yeah. He had 8 of 9.
Yeah. So those are the different actions you can take. So basically it's getting contracts, getting cubes, hacking, or
specific cubes that usually get more, but it's a specific color, whereas the one with a question mark is based off of where you're at in the train.
Yeah.
And those are any color you want.
So for the hacking, whenever there's 2 piles up here that will have different start and end destinations on them. So like this one, there's a green you're unlocked by default. So it's saying I have to come in from the top and go out from the bottom of this 3rd column. And then there's also a blue and a purple, or if you unlock the blue and the purple abilities on your board, and that's based upon this top track, moving up the track will unlock those. If I connect all of these together, you always will still have to do the green, but you also could add in the blue and the purple as a connection. If you manage to get all of them, you'll unlock more abilities from the card. So if I just do the 2 greens, in this case I would get to move up 1 on this bottom track, and I would get a money. If I unlock the blue and the purple, I can get an additional cube back, and I can get an additional movement on the bottom track out. Now, every card's a little different as far as the orientation of where you come in and go out, and also what benefits you get from it.
Sometimes you get more, sometimes you get less stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of luck of the draw there.
So whenever I go to complete it, I can take one of these cards, and I can take 2 manipulations of the board for free. Mm-hmm. So one manipulation could be to rotate a tile 90 degrees. Another could be to swap 2 adjacent tiles like that. Or a third would be to push the whole column, and then the top one becomes the bottom one. So those are the different manipulations you can do. There's also, every player has their own character that has its own special one. So mine lets me take a tile from the top row and put it in the bottom row and swap them. So you can't reorient any of these unless you take the turn action. But you can do any of those combinations but you get 2 of them for free. After that,
mine's unique because you can only rotate 1 90 degrees. Mine allowed me to rotate 2 of the same row 90 degrees. And I think Adam's was similar, but instead of top and bottom, his was left to right as swapping. And I'm not for sure what... no, that was Caleb's. I'm not for sure what Adam's did.
Adam had a diagonal.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, there's all kinds of different ones, different characters.
Do you know if there were actually more characters than what we saw?
I believe so.
Okay, well, that's cool.
There's 5-player games, so there's at least one more.
At least 5.
But I think there's more than that. You're basically trying to do everything to move up these bottom tracks, because they're scoring also on these. And there's a line that's kind of the finish line here. If anybody crosses that finish line, which of course Caleb did, that triggers the end of the game, as well as filling your contracts, or the other condition that will, which is probably almost never going to happen, if all of these contracts get burned.
Right.
Then,
because there is a way to wipe the board.
But those just go to the bottom of the deck.
Oh, that's true.
So that won't trigger any faster. So they actually have to be played.
Or you have to, because you can only hold so many. So I assume you could discard from that, right?
But I would think those would go to the bottom too. So either way, yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I couldn't see that.
I can't see that happening. But
not within a reasonable amount of time.
You'd have to have 5 players first of all, and I'm not sure that's still how easy that would be to happen. So, and then there's in-game bonuses based upon having certain types of contracts in these these buckets. So, like, some of them are 3, so you would have to have precisely those 3. A few of them are 2, and if you get those, like I managed to get the 2 2s because I only got 4 contracts, but I had those combinations because I was doing blue, and blues in both of them. So the other thing is there's a bonus if you have the most of all of in your color. So if I had 2 blue and you had 2 purple, but Caleb had 4 red,
and he was red,
he got 5 bonus points
extra
for that.
5 points. Yep.
There's a little mini expansion that they have where you can actually do pick up and deliver, where you put a card on the board at a specific space. If you go to that space, you pick the card up. You can only have one at a time, but then it's got a destination. So if you go to this destination and take an action on that space, you drop off the card. And if you complete so many of them, they're worth 1 point at the first one, and then 3, and it goes all the way up to 15 if you get 5 of these.
Yeah, but no other. It's just scoring.
Yeah.
So you don't get any other perks.
So yeah, I mean, it was a neat little add-on, but it honestly distracted me from trying to get the contracts completed, because I was more focused on trying to get, okay, I got these contracts, they line up well, but they're back here at my starting color, so I don't want to skip all the way around because I got to make this delivery. So, and that delivery was at the halfway point, basically. Right. So, yeah.
I only completed one of them, and I wasn't able to get to any others because by the time I got there, it was already taken.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I had one right next to me starting out, so it was real convenient to pick it up, but unfortunately, I think it cost me in the long run. So I'm not sure how much these really add versus take away from playing for the strategy, especially when somebody's running up the contracts like Caleb did. So, as far as the gameplay of this, it's a neat concept, and the puzzle thing really...
if you take the hacking out of it, it's a pretty simple game.
Yeah,
it just really is just stop, pick up stuff, enough to complete a contract and move on. So, pretty bare bones.
Yeah.
But when you add the puzzle element for the hacking, it does add something special to it.
Yeah, well, it's fun, but it's like very... I mean, I do these puzzles all the time, so I could just look at it and say, I need to make 2 moves to get that combination to work.
Yeah, but it's just you don't see that in a board game very often.
No, you don't.
So that's why I kind of like it. It reminds me of the slide puzzles that you can see like a Cracker Barrel or something.
Except for those, this one you can take them out and rotate them.
Right, those you can't.
Make a little cheating.
Those you break them.
Yeah, hold it back. Trust me, as a kid, I used to do that all the time. So I think all the pieces combined, I'm probably going to give this a 7, I think.
I think that's a good score because I think that it was fun. I don't know if I would buy it just because I have no problem playing it if somebody brings it out, but I don't know if I enjoyed it enough to go out and buy it for myself.
Yeah, because it feels like it was like built around a gimmick. I mean, that's what it feels like. This puzzle thing was the gimmick, and then they came, we don't need to do a lot of other function.
Right.
I wish there was more taking advantage of that in some way, because it feels like you're moving around. The board is very basic.
Right.
And there's nothing unique about it, and there's only like 4 different actions really in the different spots you can go to. So it's just a very minimalist, contract fulfillment. Other than that, so that's our thoughts on Metro Runner. Let us know what you thought if you got a chance to play this, or if you've got a black light and you've been able to shine it on those pieces. Let us know what it looks like, because I'd be very curious, but very scared to shine the black light now that Rob brought that up. So
is that blood?
All right. Now, we will be recording our anniversary thing probably just after this. Yeah. So that will probably hit before this will. So you'll probably hopefully enjoy that. But we got a little special up our sleeves, or lack thereof. So all right. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.